Come on, tell me. I'm waiting. You don't know? You don't know what your future has in store for you? You're telling me that you don't know what to do, you don't know what you want to do with your career? That's crazy, bro. That's wild. That is insane. But thus, it's a common situation that many high schoolers have, and sadly and humbly, many college students have too. And the future, your career, what you're gonna do, it's all very it's hard subjects because the fact of the matter is that nobody knows what they genuinely want to do. And how could you? The education system's already stacked up against you, right? You don't have the opportunities to go and experience and to learn all these things on your own volitions, but rather you have the illusion of choice on electives. Oh, you can learn French. Go spend 2 years learning French. Maybe they'll somehow let you know what you want to do with your lives. In this video, I want to talk about a couple things on just zooming out and thinking about life. And the reason why I'm making this is because I'm a pre-med, right? I'm going to be a doctor. And I don't necessarily have to follow the traditional path of med school in the state, right? Then you've got your residency of some specialty, maybe a spine surgeon or a pediatrician, and then you become a doctor in the States. You become a clinician, you start a clinic, it's very cute. I could study abroad, go live in Japan where there's like a 50 square mile radius of like 17 people where doctors are needed in such area. I could do anything with my doctor. I could go into politics. I don't need to practice all these little things that comprises of a potential future of what Samuel Joseph could do. You don't know. You honestly don't know. And God has a great plan for you, but as a student going through the motions right now, how can you know, right? When the decision comes down to it, when you say yes or no to a certain thing, you'll know then because you'll be making that decision. But right now, you can't say for sure, yes, in 35 years, I'm going to be practicing medicine in New York City alongside this crazy doctor in this crazy hospital. Okay, so what do? You don't know your future? You can simulate it. My friend used to do this. I never understood this, He used to simulate the amount of net happiness he would gain from doing a thing. Like, he would simulate buying that ice cream and decide whether or not he should buy that ice cream per unit of happiness he would get from the cost that he would spend. And it made no sense to me. He would determine whether or not he would buy a concert ticket by mentally simulating how much pleasure he would get out of going to the concert. And looking back, now it kind of makes sense because I believe that you can simulate what being a doctor is going to be like. Maybe being a computer science major is going to be like. Maybe becoming an artist, a freelance artist, all of these things. You could mentally simulate because you have some idea of what it's going to be like. And if you don't have an idea, oh, that's great. There's plenty of ways you can get an idea. You talk to people, connections who actually do it. You can literally go on the internet and see people experience that lives. And yes, I know it's the best of what that life is, but maybe that excites you and that's okay. You could just do research and get as much information you can just to mentally simulate it. And obviously nothing beats actually doing it, going out and experiencing that. I truly believe that young people should experience as much as they can because they should throw all of their activities and hobbies and things that they can do against the wall and see what sticks. Because let's say you take a class in high school and it's anatomy and physiology, and now you come out of the class hating it. That's good knowledge. You hate anatomy and physiology, you can stick that into your back pocket and remember that for later when you might use it to determine like an entire career path that you're going to undertake. You don't like computer science, don't do computer science. Maybe there's a different side of computer science you might warm up to eventually, but this is useful knowledge, knowing who you are, knowing what you like. And obviously, you read stories. Well, it's not obvious, but I think that exciting stories, not only stories that are spoken or heard, but stories that are read, fiction, blog posts, these stories, they stay within us and they actually just they become a part of us, and those stories can inspire. And inspiration is a very crazy thing. Doing things like making this video, it's an inspiration because I cannot move forward. I cannot exceed my limits without being inspired because that inspiration is fuel. Um, there's this idea of intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. And extrinsic motivation is doing things for, that the money, like if you're starting a business and you're doing the business for the money, that's an intrinsic. But no one can beat that person who has an intrinsic motivation of doing the thing because he loves it. And this is so powerful because intrinsic people, intrinsic activities rather, not people, because people can be both. And an activity done intrinsically, it's because they derive pleasure from doing that activity, they're going to come back the next day and do it again. Compared it to the extrinsic guy who has to drag himself out to the field to practice soccer. The guy who loves soccer is there early because he wants to be there. He literally derives pleasure. He hijacked his brain. This is crazy. He hijacked his brain to work. And by default, he's going to outwork everybody because he loves it. And not only that, he is gaining energy from that activity of doing what he loves. Because imagine, some people love playing video games, okay? And I don't think video games is a good example, but when you derive, like you, for example, it's late at night, right? Okay? And then someone boots up their video game, suddenly they're not sleepy anymore. They're really excited. They literally drew energy out of their bodies to exert it into that video game or that activity. Or for this soccer player, he's brushing away his morning sleepiness to work on the game and to practice. And how can somebody beat you if you literally hijack your brain to derive pleasure from working hard? That's just crazy. That's insane. And working hard, I truly believe that this working hard is one of the peak states of happiness that a human can achieve. I know I feel extremely happy when I am grouping together as many blocks of deep work together as I can. It's just so fulfilling. And deep work itself, it's that just straight focused flow of not just being distracted by anything and just getting that work done, and then rising up out of that work and looking back and reflecting, like, I learned so much. That was amazing. And then you go back in, you just learn, and then the more you do it, the better you get at it, and the better you get at it, the more fun you have just working. So this is all well and good, but we were talking about career and futures and stuff. And being a young person, you don't know. And this is the dilemma, right? Because we assume that when we find that magical career, it's going to, the skies are going to open up and the orchestra will start playing and the career just falls into your hand like magic. It's no. It's just accepting it. And the brutal reality is that a lot of careers, it just comes to people, people just like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and they end up doing that thing for 30 years. It's just a reality. But people still are going to derive a sort of passion for their work. I see this happen all the time with PhDs on like my lab and just UTD, just general people who get PhDs on a topic. You study a topic for 10 years, you become an expert. Once you become an expert, how can you not get some sort of pride for yourself and develop a passion for the thing that you've studied? It's impossible to not. It's anything that you spend time doing and working on, you're going to become passionate about it. And it's not an all children's dream to I don't know, whatever obscure job that people end up doing that makes them a lot of money. It's the passion will come as a result of it. And being in high school, even being in college, you don't know what that is. You can't imagine it because no such thing exists in your brain. We all think of doctor in Japan, or we think of lawyer in like a hightail office. This is just the stories that we know. But there's infinite stories and possibilities that can be, and we just simply have not been exposed to them yet. And so we could simulate what, this might be like and that might be like, but the reality is we don't know. And it's beneficial to say, well, I like being a doctor or I don't like being a computer scientist, as that can guide finding out who you are. But the career will just come to you. And if you're serious about, making money, if you're serious about supporting or all these, your own happiness, you don't worry. Honestly, don't worry. It'll come to you. But there is one thing I want to make very clear to you. If you have a dream, go chase it. Like a big dream. Because not every person on this earth is born with a dream. People just they have the most basic desires. But if you come on this earth with this very special dream, yeah, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't have a dream. Like I just say I want to be a doctor. I don't really have a big dream, but there's some people on this earth, and it might not be you, but it could be you. And if you do have this dream, listen very carefully, because you need to work extremely, extremely hard to bring this dream to fruition. Because if you do not work hard, people with bigger dreams are going to walk all over you, and you will be at risk of living a mediocre life forever until you die. You just come to this earth and then you die, and your life is gone. You have a dream, something massive. You better work very, very hard on this. All right. So anyway, with that, thank you for watching. There is one little easy trick that I recommend to everyone to get a head start in their dreams. We ran a study and we found that people who like this video they jumpstart 5 years ahead in their business plan. So consider that. I have a video right here. If you like the style of this video where I just rant, this video is like perfect for you, because I pretty much do the same thing as I did in this video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.